Assalamualaikum and a very good day to all of my panel. Today I'm going to present about my final year project, which is effect of solid-state fermentation on physicochemical properties of Tempoyak. For information, for this project, I'm conducting my research in the lab. Production of Tempoyak is actually an initiative to preserve durian, especially on its season right now. Actually, the production of Tempoyak is from the solid-state fermentation, which the microorganism like in Tempoyak is lactic acid bacteria will be using the sugar and fat content in durian as the source of energy to ferment. The significance of this study is to provide more findings and information regarding the local fruits, which is durian and Tempoyak, to state whether the micronutrients in durian is broken down into micromolecules after fermentation, and also to classify Tempoyak as one of the nutritious fermented products. Also, as the objective of this study is to determine the physicochemical properties of Tempoyak and durian in different days of fermentation, and also to study the behavior of Tempoyak under 28 days of fermentation. First of all, durian. Actually, only the aerial part of durian is edible. In addition, the cultivated varieties of durian might give off different quality of aerial. Some of them might be thicker, juicier, and tastier aerials. In fact, there is a durian breeding program that are conducted among the Asian countries. In fact, 15 of durian hybrid have been registered under Department of Agriculture in Malaysia, and 10 of the varieties can be obtained from our country. But there is also some of the inedible durian. Other than that, durian is a good source of carbohydrate, fat, protein, fatty acid, vitamins, and also bioactive compounds. This is how the inedible species of durian looks like. Second of all, Tempoyak. We all know that Tempoyak have a unique characteristic, right? This is because it is developed by lactic acid bacteria, which is produced during the solid-state fermentation. This lactic acid bacteria also give importance such as probiotic importance to smoothen our cholesterol metabolism. Besides, in Tempoyak, there is 50% of moisture based on the previous study, and the yellowish color of Tempoyak give high importance of the keratin for our body as antioxidant. Thirdly is the solid-state fermentation. It is a bioreaction process that includes microorganisms for its microbial growth in the solid matrix degradation of the raw material, which is in this study is the durian itself. And this process have been given a lot of benefits such as antioxidant properties, the microorganism as probiotic, antimicrobial properties, and also antimogenic properties. Besides, there is 10 classes of food that can be produced by SSF, such as cereal, legumes, fish, and meat. Besides, there is 3 stages that included in the fermentation process, which is first initial stage, second intermediate stage, and lastly later stage. Besides, there is 4 control in SSF process control, which is first media, granularity, contamination risk, fermentation of aroma and flavor, and also moisture and temperature. So for this research, I've chosen 2 varieties of durian, which is D24 and also D197, which is also known as Musang King. So based on these 2 varieties, I've separated into 5 different days of fermentation, and then based on these 10 container, I will analyze the physical and chemical analysis for each. So basically, this is my analysis flow chart. Next is sample preparation. Basically, this is how I prepare my sample for this research. First of all, I separate the flesh of durian from the seeds. Second, I mix roughly the flesh of durian to ensure the texture is consistent. And then I separate the flesh of durian into 5 different tight containers for my analysis. And then lastly, I allow the sample to ferment for the occurrence of acidity and flavor of Tempoyak for 7 to 28 days at room temperature. First of all, water activity. There is a significant difference for days of fermentation for both varieties. Actually, the hydrolysis by lactic acid bacteria during the fermentation will increase the water activity in Tempoyak, and the increase of this water activity will cause the increase in the growth of microbes. Therefore, basically the water activity is to determine how the water in Tempoyak will react with these microbes produced during the fermentation. And then the varieties between Musang King and D24 also give effect on the water activity content, which can be seen that Musang King have lower water activity compared to D24. Secondly is the moisture content. This analysis is conducted by oven drying method. Basically, as can be seen in the graph, D24 and Musang King have different moisture content, which is due to the hybridization of the seeds itself. And besides, the increasing of the moisture content will increase the water activity. The increase in moisture content might be due to the degradation of carbohydrate during fermentation. And the higher the moisture content of Tempoyak, the higher the occurrence of Tempoyak fermentation. Thirdly is the pH value, which is analyzed by using pH meter. There is a significant difference between days of fermentation. pH value tends to drop upon 3 days of solid-state fermentation. As can be seen in the graph, between day 0 and day 7, there is a decreasing trend for both varieties. From day 7 to day 28, there is kind of constant trend for both of the varieties. This is because, first of all, the optimal condition for growth of LAB bacteria is between 5 to 6 pH. 4.8 pH is the lowest that the bacteria can go. Lower than that, it will inhibit the metabolism of LAB. Besides, the decrease of the pH is also caused by the assimilation of glucose by microbes during the fermentation. Fourth physical analysis is the color analysis, which is done by using chromometer. There is a significant difference between durian varieties and also days of fermentation. The lightness of Tempoyak, which is the L value, is contributed by the bright color of the Tempoyak itself. However, in this analysis, I want to focus on the carotene content, which is contribute to the yellowish color of durian itself. There is two major type of carotenoid in the durian, which is alpha carotene and beta carotene, while the minor carotene in Tempoyak is zeaxanthin and lutein. As can be seen in the table, Musang King have higher B value, which is the yellowness, compared to D24. This is because in Musang King, there is higher concentration of carotenoids. And besides, based on the graph, you can see that there is constant value among the days of fermentation for the B value. This is because the fermentation of LAB have preservative effect on the color of Tempoyak. Moving on to chemical analysis, which is first crude fat. I'm using the salt slag extraction method to obtain the crude fat of Tempoyak. There is a significant difference for both of durian varieties and also days of fermentation. The high content on the durian, which is fresh durian, has caused the high content of fat in the Tempoyak. This is because the metabolism of carbohydrate to fat. Besides, in the 28 days of analysis of fermentation in my studies, there is increasing trends of crude fat, as can be seen in the graph in the bar chart. This is because the existence of the solid-state fermentation microbe capable to build fat. However, some of the fat content may be used as the alternative of energy by the microbes for their metabolic activities. Second chemical analysis is the analysis of fatty acids by using GCFID instruments. Based on my analysis, I have analyzed 3 types of fatty acids, which is oleic acid, which is unsaturated, followed by palmitic and myristic acid, which is saturated fatty acid. Before that, there is a significant difference between the varieties of durian and also days of durian Tempoyak fermentation. Based on the chart, SSF, solid-state fermentation, would cause reduction of saturated fatty acid by 20%, which can be seen in the table that there is kind of a decreasing trend for the value of fatty acid, especially in palmitic acid. Palmitic is the most highest fatty acid I found in my analysis, followed by oleic acid and then myristic acid. Besides, lactic acid bacteria and substrate related in solid-state fermentation also affect the fatty acid profile according to Ranjan. For the next chemical analysis is the total ash content, which I use the dry ashing method by using microfurnace. Based on the result obtained, there is a significant differences between durian varieties and also days of fermentation. However, according to previous study, there is a decrease of crude fiber during the solid-state fermentation by 38.59%. As you can see in the bar chart, there is a quite decreased trend from day 0 to day 28. This is because the fiber degradation in the ash is caused by the lactic acid bacteria, which it secreted the cellulite enzyme, and also hemicellulite enzyme, which is responsible for the fiber degradation in the ash. And as comparison with significant study, this shows that there is no consistent percent of ash analyzed by each of the researcher. For mine, I will show at the end of the presentation at the proximate analysis. The next chemical analysis is the analysis of crude protein that I'm using the Kejedal method by using the protein analyzer by Vapodesk. According to previous study, according to Lee, there will be increasing of total protein content due to the solid-state fermentation, because the fats in the tempoyak will transform into proteins. And also, according to him, the microbial growth in tempoyak will also contribute to the total protein during the solid-state fermentation. However, according to Raja Guguk, he said that there would be decreasing of protein content in tempoyak during solid-state fermentation. According to his study, fresh durian will have 7.89% of protein. However, tempoyak will decrease the crude protein to 6.37% only. Last but not least is my proximate analysis on the last day of my analysis, 28th day. As you can see, there is not so much difference between D24 and Musang King. To compare my proximate analysis, I compare with the Raja Guguk and Arnold study, which for tempoyak, they found that carbohydrate is 2 times higher than what I analyzed. However, there would be a lot of reasons for these differences. For example, due to the varieties and hybrid of durian. As Raja Guguk used the Montong variety of durians, while I use D24 and Musang King. Also, same goes to the other composition. In conclusion, there is a decreased trend of fatty acid in tempoyak during solid-state fermentation, which will reduce the risk diseases related to fats. And besides, tempoyak can be classified as the one of the nutritious fermented food product, as it has high content of carotene, which will act as antioxidant and also have probiotic benefits that is obtained from the microorganism obtained during solid-state fermentation. My recommendation for further studies is to study regarding the durian seeds that can have potential to be a cocoa powder replacement, as it has sensorial attributes that is kind of similar with cocoa powder. Besides, studies of tempoyak regarding focusing on the carotenoid content would be beneficial, since carotene is important for us as antioxidant, which will benefit our health. These are some of the studies that I refer for my research project. That is all for my presentation regarding effect of solid-state fermentation to physicochemical properties of tempoyak. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.